So, we do demonstrate our personal and group values, and this is crucial to identify online publics. And we can also look at hyperlinks. Again, what we did in this case was we looked at the exchange of hyperlinks between websites, from our website to other websites, from blogs within blogs, and we followed every hyperlink to map their relevance. And the bigger the circle, the bigger the links going to that blog. So we can assume that the more influential the blog is, the more links it gathers. And we can also look at the British Olympic Association's website. What I did here was, I was working on my dissertation, and I decided to look at the whole hyperlink network for the Olympic Association of Great Britain. And after I had every single website identified, I ran the latent semantic analysis again, and this was what we found out. These are the main values that were expressed by the olympics.org.uk website. This is what the website says it is about, but then, as we look at the websites linking to the Olympics website, we see that it's a very different scenario. If we look back and forward again, we find that the results are very, very different. What does this mean? It means that we have identified two different value systems. One is the one displayed by the Olympics Association, and the other is the online discourse. And we analyzed it, and we looked at how they matched or mismatched. And after reading blog over blog over blog over blog, I was able to pinpoint exact publics, and to find out that even though the British Association had a teaching pack available to teachers, it was actually being used by parents to teach their children about the Olympics and to teach them about the well-being that they get from sports. Moving on, it all comes down to online monitoring. The thing is, everybody talks about online monitoring. Everybody says that it's important to listen, but I don't think it should be just about listening. As we've seen before, online communication has been growing and growing and growing. And for example, Philip was talking about how the numbers actually don't help his argument that all online is online PR. Well, the truth is, it doesn't matter if a country's population only uses the internet on weekends, or let's say that in 1,000 people, only 5 or 6 actually use the internet. It doesn't matter. What matters is that, as we saw, technology is evolving and is moving on to a direction where we no longer have problems with storage. We no longer need to worry about processing information at rapid speeds. We are making machines communicate among themselves so that we can communicate with each other. And this means that for public relations, we have more than just a right, we have more than just a duty, we have an obligation to look at what's going on how we communicate as a society and try to nurture it as much as possible. Because as Clay Shirky would say, when we change the way we communicate, we change society. So, we need to take this information. It doesn't matter if only a few people use the internet, it does matter that they will eventually. There will be one day when 90% of the world population will say, I use the internet. And I just hope that I will be alive to see that day happen. And as we saw, we have tools that allow public relations to use real-time information on the behavior of online publics. And online monitoring boils down to these two things. One, we need to take a bird's eye view of what's going on. And two, we need to focus on a specific campaign or a specific issue, and we need to find out what's going on. It can be thought of as a process of turning information into content. It's our way of assisting corporate managers to make decisions in a more informed manner. monitoring is useless if we don't turn this into actions. And as for a bird's eye view, we can have a bird's eye view of the sector, of the company, or of the conversation. Now, from here, we have information on what the sector believes is important. And we can look at how the company is seen or talked about. And what is the overall conversation among publics. Because let's imagine that your main publics are actually talking about something completely different than what you want to address. In that case, the only reasoning behind your next action is, given that they're not listening to us, we either match the conversation or we give them a very good reason to listen to us. I think that's what the Manchester Police Department did. And campaign monitoring. It is essentially a real-time assessment of relevant metrics, whether it is visitors, in-links, or any other metric, such as how many time people spend on the website, or what values are being linked to the campaign. It's the value system analysis. Actions can be performed, the actions that are being performed by key publics also demonstrate what they want to hear about. Imagine the following. Whenever I'm trying to assist a client, the first thing that I look at is what information is most viewed on the website. Because that will give me an idea of what information is most important within the whole website, and now we can use that to bring more visitors to the website. So, that is one of the things that I wanted to show you. But before I finish, I would like to say it's very interesting to see these things, but it's a whole different thing when we look at how it happens. I couldn't get much more information, but I did manage to go back and take a few samples of other analysis that I ran. And this program for those that are not familiar with, what I'm going to show you is a social network analysis engine, which is called Payek. It was made by, it is from Slovenia. Here it is. And what it allows us to do is it allows us to, or what it should allow to do, excuse me. It gives us a precise mapping. Okay, I'm going to have to do this in a different way, sorry. Gives us a precise mapping of how the links are This is not going as planned. So it gives us a precise mapping of how links are actually exchanged, and it will help us find which blogs have the most influence around a certain topic. And we could also bring this down to which is not only the most influential, but the most active blog. And with this, yes, we can look at online monitoring in a different light and use it not only so that it can help us make decisions, but also to take a company out of a crisis situation. Because this sort of monitoring, this sort of watchtower perspective of public relations can also be useful in identifying opportunities for new business. It can also be useful to prevent a crisis, which in the end would be an indisputable evidence that public relations is, in fact, crucial to any organization. And now, yes, thank you, and if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them.